Welcome to the show. I am ThatChrisGore, and I am in New Zealand this week.
Woohoo!
I am in New Zealand this week with my very special guest, Grae Drake.
Woohoo! Good day. That's not... What do they say in New Zealand is what I don't know.
They say good day in that's in Australia.
I barely know those are separate places.
Yeah. So we're actually here in New Zealand for an event involving Weta and the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, in which both of us used motion capture suits.
Yeah, they put us in spandexy, like, crazy balls all over your body suits.
It's technically the most balls I've ever had on me.
I cannot agree with you there.
It's weird in these suits because you feel like, I kind of felt like a superhero. These suits are very form-fitting. It's like wearing a full-body girdle. And it was pretty cool. And they demonstrated the technology used for Rise of the Planet of the Apes. This will be for an upcoming segment. For me, it'll be on G4 TV, and for you, Grae, it'll be...
Crave Online. Crave Online is hosting all of me and my boobalicious... My butt looked awesome in that thing, I think. Everybody's butt looked awesome.
It did that thing, your butt did that thing where it made that glinting sound. It did the little...
Ding!
It did that. Now, first of all, I talk about who you are because I can't do this podcast alone. I cannot sit here and talk in a room by myself. I have to have someone hold my hand. I have to have someone to talk to, and
I will not hold your hand.
Well, you're not. You are not holding my hand. I mean, someone to bounce things off of because I just can't do this by myself. So we met on the plane coming to New Zealand.
Yeah, no, correction. We sat next to each other for nearly 13 hours without knowing that we were both going to the same place.
And here we are. And you also, you do Crave Online, you do CNN, you also do a podcast. Now tell my listeners about your podcast.
Okay, I host the Popcorn Mafia, and so I'm a filmmaker-ish, and I review movies at movies.com, and so Popcorn Mafia is where I get to swear a lot, and I bring on two guests, and we talk about a current release, and we pair it with an old release that you can rent, because I eventually got, tired of saying that older movies are always better, so I just wanted to, make that an understood, basically, except ever since I started doing that regularly, I've chosen horrible movies, old movies, to pair the new ones with, like when we did Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That's a great episode, but I paired it with Going Ape with Tony Danza, which is a terrible film.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. And I have a question for you, one question. You do a podcast called Popcorn Mafia.
Yes.
Could I be on your podcast?
No. No, yes, of course.
I thought you were serious for a second. I can't be on your podcast. No, this is the whole Now, so you'll allow me to be on a future episode, and then I can use those clips on my podcast because my show is called PodCRASH.
You can totally crash my pod for sure.
Sure. Let's get on with the show. I am ThatChrisGore. You can follow me on Twitter at ThatChrisGore, and you can also follow the Twitter for the show, which is at PodCRASH Show. And then we're now on iTunes. So please subscribe, leave a comment. I hope it's positive. And I thank you for continuing to listen. I asked you to send me some questions, and I'm going to address some of your questions right now. And I have to say, the number one question that I get, which is probably because of some recent controversy, is whatever happened to Olivia Munn? I will address that question. But first I want to tell you, before I get to whatever happened to Olivia Munn...
Is that like whatever happened to Baby Jane?
Not really.
Oh.
Not really. I mean, perhaps there was as much drama. I don't know. I'll have to rewatch that film.
Rats for dinner!
But I will answer that question. But first I want to talk about how I came to be at G4. Real simple.
Origin story.
This is, yes, and contrary to popular belief, I was not bitten by a radioactive Roger Ebert.
That's your story, you're sticking to it?
No, that's not my story. I mean, real simple. I had done other television. I did a game show for IFC called Ultimate Film Fanatic. I did a show for Stars called Festival Pass. I did the show called The X Show. So I'd done some television, but was tired of doing TV. And the reason was I really got sick of them trying to hip me up or make me into this, or, oh, we're going to have you wear these clothes now, which of course I didn't feel completely comfortable in because they're not my clothes or not something I would actually ever wear, or here's what you're going to say, here's this button here, and I could never really be myself on camera, and I'd just really given up on doing television. I got a call out of the blue from a guy named Gavin Purcell, who was at the time the executive producer of Attack of the Show. And he said that they were, and he wasn't even Attack of the Show. The show was called The Screensavers.
Which is the worst name of all time.
What, The Screensavers?
That's horrible. They made such a good decision. Side note.
Well, it was a show on Tech TV, which I happen to like. I mean, it was very at the time very much more technical, and they were looking for someone to review DVDs on a segment called DVD Tuesday. I wasn't looking for a job at the time. I was working on a book project and a film project, and he approached me, brought me in. I didn't audition. He just said, we want you to review DVDs on camera. And he had interviewed me before when he was a producer at National Enquirer TV, and he came over to my house, which I completely do not remember. I remember not wanting to be on National Enquirer TV because I'm not really known for gossip, only because I don't know anything about it.
You're not in the loop.
You're
out of the loop.
Only recently found out Tom Cruise was at one time married to Nicole Kidman.
Wow. What is it like being in, like, is ignorance really bliss? Is what
I don't care. I don't care about celebrity gossip. So that's how I met Gavin. He called me in, did not audition, and he basically offered me the job in the room and just said, we want you to do this segment. And I said, okay, I've got 3 requests. 3 requests. One, on the show, I want to be able to say whatever I want on camera. I want to be able to say whatever I want. Now, within reason, TV rules. I can't obviously swear, but my opinion is my opinion. If this is how I feel about something, you're not going to influence me telling me that advertisers are buying ads. I don't care. My opinion is mine. I did later find out that I could get away with swearing if I mispronounced swear words.
Like what?
For example, I'll say, that director's a real shitheed.
Which, like, makes you sound like you're an old-timey cad.
Yeah,
you're challenging him to a duel afterwards.
But, yeah, shitheed. And then sometimes I will actually use ASL, American Sign Language, and I'll say something like bullshit just as the segment is starting, but it's just for those people who know ASL.
Which is what I'm doing right now, which works really well in an audio podcast.
Oh my God, yes. It's basically you're doing sort of devil horns, and then you're doing explosion at the bottom, and that's sort of your that's ASL for bullshit. So I will do these things occasionally on Attack the Show, but I want to be able to say whatever I want, wear whatever I want within reason, like T-shirts, whatever T-shirt I want, because I wear T-shirts for things that I like, and I once wore a T-shirt that said "I heart your vagina."
Thank you.
And I wore that shirt. It was Valentine's Day though, so
that's really sweet.
And then the other thing is I wanted to be able to keep all the DVDs. And he said, okay, I can let you do the first 2 are no problem, but you can't keep the DVDs.
Wow, really? That's what he held out on?
Yeah.
No DVDs?
So when I review the DVDs on Attack of the Show, I do not get to keep them. When I say buy, I am actually going and buying those DVDs. Now, I might buy that DVD used. How you buy the DVD is up to you. I often buy DVDs online. I find discounts. What can I say? I use them. So when I say buy, I'm actually purchasing the DVD for my collection, which I consider that what I'm doing is I'm trying to make the ultimate Desert Island collection.
Wow, ultimate desert. I like that. I don't have that. I got rid of all my DVDs.
Yeah, well,
Except for like a choice few, including Love Actually and Troll 2. Those are...
Well, Troll 2, Love Actually? What?
I know. It's like a guilty pleasure. I love that movie. It just like makes me feel like everything is right with the world. And then I know it's a sickness.
And for others, it makes them want to shoot themselves in the head. So that's just me. So
like so many things that make me feel warm and fuzzy.
Now, what's funny is in that same meeting, he also told me I was sworn to secrecy that the name of the show is going to change to Attack of the Show, which I thought was the dumbest name I had ever heard.
No, it's good. It's really funny.
Well, it seems good now. At the time, I remember thinking that's an awful name because it was too reminiscent of Attack of the Clones.
God. Yeah, which we don't want to reminisce about.
Right. Let's not get into a Star Wars discussion. But so I thought it was I didn't care. I mean, who cares? The show changed its name. A year or so later, Olivia Munn comes on. And this is where I'm getting the Olivia story. And she adds quite a freshness to the show. I don't know how much you know about Olivia.
And by freshness, you mean boobs. And smart and fun. Yes, she's all of those things, but boobs.
Yes. So the thing is this. I loved working with Olivia. And I would tell her before we went on camera, I said, do me a favor. Don't make it easy for me. Did she live up to that or what? She would make fun of me on camera. She'd talk about rehearsal. She once shamed me into admitting that I went to see one of the Twilight movies because I knew that if I went with this one girl, she would let me have anal sex with her.
That's the best reason I've heard yet of seeing a Twilight movie. Hands down. That's amazing. I was like, all right, well, if I get to see this movie, I want you to know how I feel. What happened to that lady? I was dating that girl for a while, and we're no longer together. So that's special. That's really special.
Her love of Twilight may have been the final straw.
It drove a wedge like a stake into your heart, your glittering, sparkly heart.
So Olivia, what I always liked about working with her was it was just unpredictable. I mean, you never knew what she was going to say. She would constantly defy the producers, which, inspired me to do the same. And she made the show fun. So my experience working with her was always awesome. She was always nice to me. She even went out of her way to plug my book on the show, the Ultimate Film Festival Survival Guide. So I appreciate her for all of that. When Olivia was beginning to distance herself from the show, and by distance I mean there's really not a lot of drama here. Everyone wants this sort of pat answer. I'll tell you the one thing I find wrong with this whole situation, but Olivia just wanted to do other stuff. I mean, she came and attacked the show, which I think really played to her strengths, improv comedy, and the fact that you never knew what she was going to say, what was going to come out of her mouth. I mean,
which is fantastic. I mean, she was really fun to watch. I also watched that YouTube video of her eating a hot dog. Done.
I watched it for other reasons, but the whole thing is that she just wanted to go and do the other film and dramatic TV. She wanted to be an actress, so there wasn't some big "I'm leaving the show." G4 gave her plenty of room to be able to go and like take time off from the show, and go do other projects. Here's I think the big mistake, and I think that both perhaps G4 and Olivia are to blame for this. Wow, this is going to be great. I foresee a meeting at Human Resources very soon. A meeting with people to discuss what I'm talking about on the podcast. This is just how I saw it from the outside, right? Is that it really felt a betrayal to the audience because it was as if, because here we were, the title sequence of the show comes up and it's Kevin and Olivia, right? And then the show would come on, and there would be a chat roulette of actresses who would appear on the show. It would be Sarah Underwood. It would be, Allison Hayslip. It would just be all these other girls that they were trying out who could be hosts because Olivia was taking time off to do other projects and whatnot, like Daily Show. What I think the big mistake was just not telling the audience that. And for me, I have always preferred to just be honest with the audience because I think when you're honest with them, it shows you respect them. So I kind of feel after a certain point of months of this happening, it's kind of like, Dad has been sleeping on the sofa and pretending that Mom and Dad aren't getting a divorce, but then finally the audience is told Mom and Dad are getting a divorce. And the kids say, we know you're getting a divorce. This is not a surprise. You've been sleeping on the couch. You're getting divorced. We're kids. We're smart.
Right.
And I feel the G4 audience is very smart. And I think that they knew what was going on. And because we did not tell them sooner, and I always wanted to address it because I would get the question. I mean, look, I'm a guy who shows up. I'm a couple times on Attack of the Show every week. I don't understand. Why am I getting these questions? And I would never respond. It's not really my place to have an opinion about it. But my opinion is really that you should just be honest with the audience because then the audience knows you respect them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like be honest about seeing Twilight and having anal afterwards. Be honest.
Yes, that's exactly the kind of honesty I'm talking about. Now let's get to this week's PodCRASH.
Woo!
I am crashing a show that I know that you're familiar with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's the Comedy Film Nerds with Graham Elwood, Chris Mancini. Chris and Graham invited me to be a guest on the show. You know what I said? Yes.
Why wouldn't you say yes?
I said
you are all of those three things.
I said yes, and what I respect about the show is the film geek knowledge is amazing, which I love. Those are my people that are film geeks. So so we're going to listen to some of what I said on Comedy Film Nerds, and then stay tuned to the end because I've got a couple special surprises for you.
We've known Chris for a long time. I'm going to fuck up the introduction now. We've known Chris for a really long time, and we've been happy to work with him, in many different stages and things that we've done together. And this was the kind of thing where a fan goes, "You should have Chris Gore on your show," and we're like, "We should have Chris Gore on our show. Why haven't we had Chris Gore on the show?" So we sent an email.
Not. This is not Chris Gore. This guy is his brother Larry.
Yeah.
No, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the Nerd Cave
the founder of Film Threat, Chris Gore.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I feel like I'm getting an award. What is this intro?
We're very big on poor intros.
Yes,
that was clunky starts.
No, it was amazing. I really appreciate it. I'm humbled by that intro.
Well,
and the Gargo was standing at him, so it's a little awkward.
Chris, as soon as he came in, he did some bench pressing.
Yeah.
And,
oh my God, no! This place is badass. I don't know. I'm sure you've tweeted out pictures of it or pictures on the site.
Sadly, the toddler bed is gone now.
Toddler bed's gone. But Sean, our intern, is putting together a new shelf to put all of our T-shirts in.
So my kids will stop playing with them.
So if you buy a T-shirt, Chris's kids played with it.
It was on a 6-year-old at one point.
That's a bad selling point. Don't say that. Most of them have not been touched. Jesus.
Buy the Comedy Film Nerds T-shirts. Okay, let's get. You'll get a Woot Monkey.
You'll get a Woot Monkey. You'll get a Woot Monkey that they have not played with.
But Chris is really involved. He's on G4. He's been involved in independent film for years, and now you just sold Film Threat. But I also saw, we're going to get into this a little later, but when does the first Film Threat, the print magazine, come out?
Oh gosh, I guess you'll have to ask Mark Bell about that. He's decided to bring it back to print, and I'm not involved in it. I have to say, I sold Film Threat, but I wish Mark all the success in the world in any way I can help him out. But I'm interested to see it. I don't know about going back to print. I think, I'm not sure exactly.
It's got a real retro feel. Paper.
Yeah, paper. It's so weird. I actually read a magazine the other day, and it felt weird because I'm so used to reading things on the computer or, a Flipboard and the iPad. So it's like reading on paper. It feels like, wow, this is like stone tablets.
Yeah, this feels like a Trader Joe's catalog.
It felt really
I'm wearing an animal pelt.
Strange. Or I like to say it's magazines. They're just like the internet, but on really thin slices of wood. Yeah. That's what magazines are. So
get yourself some thin slices of wood and read
thin
something.
Slices of wood, and we'll put ink on it.
Yes.
It'll be great. We kill trees, we grind them up, we bleach their wood. So, because paper's got to be white. Yeah. Paper's got to be white. None of this beige paper. No manila paper, which sounded so good as a kid. Whenever a teacher would say manila paper, all I would think was vanilla. Right?
Yeah. Yes, like the wafers.
Exactly.
That came in a box that was made from thin sheets of wood.
Vanilla wafers. So good.
Well, yeah, we're so glad you're on the show because obviously,
Well, I'm fans of you guys.
Yeah,
we should get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Met kind of the festival circuit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, you're doing stand-up and all over the place, and it's great. It's
you championed both of our short films,
absolutely.
At festivals. Mm-hmm. You helped us get into festivals, which is a very, very cool thing.
I appreciate it.
So that's one of the reasons why we started this whole website and podcast was Chris and I made our own movies, and we're just fans of independent film, and so it was glaring that you hadn't been on the show until now. It was kind of like, wow, maybe this guy.
Yeah. What took so long? Yeah. Come on.
I think we should get right into it. Let's get into the. You guys saw Contagion. What did you think?
Chris, start us off. What did you think of Contagion?
I loved it. I like it's not your typical Hollywood
apocalyptic movie.
Apocalyptic film. It was like a great zombie movie without the zombies. And what was awesome was just how, like, I already carry Purell always in my pocket.
Yes.
I never not have Purell in my pocket. So watching it, and then whenever I use the ATM, I never use the sort of tip of my index finger. I always use my knuckle when I use the ATM or when I hit those, pedestrian crossing buttons. I'm already a germaphobe to begin with. So seeing that movie doesn't make things any better. And I love the realistic approach. Soderbergh is so great at just creating these real moments. The kids, the varying ages of the kids in the movies and getting great performances out of them. It was a frightening film. And I think, they say that we're kind of due, like every 100 years, we're kind of due for another horrible viral attack on human civilization. So
that's the planet. They say in that book, The Hot Zone, they say the planet's white blood cells is a virus.
Really?
Like if we actually overpopulate and start to destroy rainforests and the ecology, the planet will release a virus from the rain. That's because that's where they're all from. The viruses, those deadly viruses, from the rainforest. And even when they go in, the scientists, to try to find the viruses, they can never find them. But then that's the whole point of outbreak.
Because they're good at hiding.
Yes.
Really
but that book, A Hot Zone, is amazing.
To me,
it talks about that.
One of the things I really liked about the movie was, and in watching the credits, they worked with the CDC very, very closely in this film.
Just like that movie Outbreak, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just like Outbreak.
Yeah.
Because I really felt like I was watching the nuts and bolts of the system dealing with this problem. Do you know what I mean? Like the way the CDC handles it in their lab, and they say a bunch of stuff that's way over my head because I'm not a scientist. But I really liked the as you said, the realistic depiction of this is how it goes. And society hasn't completely collapsed, but you see these things, like they're not picking up the trash, and the kid asks, where's the fire department? And everything hasn't completely collapsed. It's not like The Road, but you're like...
So nobody's eating each other?
No one's eating each other. That hasn't happened yet. There's still a structure in place. There's still governments in place, but it's serious. Like, it's a real thing, and I really liked, the protocols and the politics behind it. Like... That was interesting, and I thought Lawrence Fishburne played the head guy quite well, and and all of the other scientists. I really liked the movie a lot. There was a couple like things they introduced, and I don't want to get into any spoilers, but that weren't necessarily answered at the end. But now, I'm nitpicking a little. Overall,
But how is the structure with like all the different characters and plot lines and stuff? Did that get like, I want to see more of that character? Did it flow together nicely?
Chris, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it with the exception of Marianne Cotillard, I can't pronounce the French. Because she disappears like in the middle of the movie, and she's sort of bookend. But I love ensemble pieces. Soderbergh is so good at that, and I like when he's doing a sort of non-traditional Hollywood movie. I think he's great at that.
Yeah, so it is. It
worked for me.
It was, it's got all these big stars in it, but again, like Chris is saying, it felt like an indie film. Like it felt like The Road. Like The Road was very much like smaller movie.
It's like they weren't wearing makeup.
Exactly.
It's sort of like they looked like how real people would act in those situations. I love how, I hope I'm not giving anything away, but Matt Damon hears that his wife is dead, but he doesn't actually hear it, and he says, so when do I get to see her?
Yeah.
He actually didn't hear those words. He's so distraught. He couldn't process it. And it was, it was amazing. So I just...
Yeah, and he's he looks like a dad.
Yeah.
He's
schlubby. Kind of schlubby.
20 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
Not, but...
If he not born?
No. If he and Bourne went out jogging, he could not keep up. The Contagion version, that Dame would be like, I can't keep up.
Yeah, like I live in the suburbs. Like, why do you stop running?
What are you doing with this parkour? I can't.
Why are you
stop punching people?
You're going. I can't jump through a window. Jesus Christ!
What are you doing with this parkour? I can't keep up with you. Can't keep up with you. the Boston born.
The Boston born. You made him sound like he was 70.
Yeah,
your
exactly.
version.
Yeah, Boston born at 70.
I can't. It's too much for me. You kids.
Exactly.
How you like them apples?
Yeah.
I got a wicked sciatica. I
can't keep up with you.
But yeah, no, it's definitely worth seeing. I liked it, and I too am a germaphobe, and I too I like watching.
Purell, they had to have been a sponsor in this movie.
I hope so.
There was like a big bottle, like product placement.
It's all over the place. It's actually mentioned.
Yeah.
But what's funny is I'm a germaphobe. And maybe Graham, you're like me. I'm a germaphobe, except when it comes to sex. Then it's like all bets are off.
Yeah, well, that's
all bets are off on that.
Let's throw down.
Yeah, exactly.
In an alley.
Not that I don't shower after.
Yeah.
Thoroughly. I'm just saying that germaphobe, and then there are moments when you kind of let that woo out of your brain.
All right, boy, what a hot leper. All right, I'll worry about this later.
Yeah, leper sex. Let's have some leper sex. Yeah, it's a good film. I would check it out.
Is there leper sex in the movie?
There's so much leper sex. Spoiler alert, leper sex.
And what's great too is seeing a film like that in the theater, which I saw it at the Cinerama Dome ArcLight, which I love. It's the use of sound. I mean, Soderbergh, the way he just sort of consumes you and creates this tone that's just. I mean, I was tense the entire film. It was
because
it was amazing.
you're seeing everybody try to deal with it on a global level. Mainly through the eyes of the CDC, but again, the CDC, what's her name, Mary Frenchie-Frencherton?
Yeah,
she's dealing with the World Health Organization in Switzerland, and
trying to model on the side.
She's trying to model on the side, and it's like it was really cool, like the way they showed it, and you really felt like
John,
I
who is the
like a
actress?
disaster movie. A society collapsing movie where I feel like, oh, this feels like maybe this is how it would go down. Right. Not big Hollywood craziness, but like slow crumbling, people falling apart a little bit, trying to hold it together, and how would we react is sort of the question everybody.
Also,
Marion
I think we're
Cotillard?
forgetting. I think
Marion Cotillard.
It's just Cotillard. Isn't it Cotillard? Isn't that how you're supposed to pronounce it?
Mary Cotton. Come on, folks.
Pick whatever letters you want to use.
But I think you're forgetting something about the movie. Also happens to be the funniest film Dimitri Martin's ever been in.
Yeah.
So can't forget that. He still is going with that haircut. He's still kind of going with that haircut. It works for him.
I got him cast in this movie.
Oh, it works for him
because he needed to look.
It's great. He looks like a used Q-tip. It's just
All right, let's move on. Warrior. I saw this last night, and I gotta say.
So who wins, Tom Hardy or Nick Nolte?
Reggie. That's my Nick Nolte impression. This movie is there's a lot of cliche fight movie stuff in there, but it doesn't matter because the performances by Nick Nolte and Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton are amazing, and even Jennifer Morrison. Those three guys in particular, Nick Nolte, he might get a supporting Oscar nod for this because there's several scenes between him and Tom Hardy one-on-one that are just gripping, and same with him and Joel Edgerton. Like it is the relationship between the three of them, these two brothers and the dad. And the dad was obviously a bad father, and he's in recovery now, and he's trying to patch it up, and all this stuff. That's a lot of the stuff you kind of get an idea from the trailer. There's a lot of stuff they didn't put in the trailer, which I'm so happy about. There's just really amazing acting in this movie, so it sort of forgives for me the okay, this is typical fight movie stuff.
I must break you.
Yeah. So they do fight a Russian. They do fight the guy in the tournament's a Russian, and then it also. And again, too, the way they shoot the fighting, I'm an MMA fan. I thought they did an excellent job with it. It looked very real. And obviously, Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton, I assume, trained a lot to get into this movie, or maybe they had already been fighting.
Well, he's already training to be Bane.
Yeah, he's already been training to be Bane. But I mean, they do an excellent job. And there's one thing this one thing with the tournament. I'd be curious to talk to somebody like Rich Franklin, who we've met, who's a UFC fighter, what they thought of the movie. I'd love to hear their point of view on it, because this tournament that they enter, there's several fights in a short amount of time. And that's the one thing I'm like, MMA is a brutal sport. These guys do like 2 fights a year. You know what I mean? Like that was the one question mark that I was like, this doesn't seem that realistic, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are tournaments like that. But even that, again, I can forgive it because the way they shoot the fighting is great. And the story between these 3 of them. And again, Jennifer Morrison.
I think they do more than 2 fights a year.
Well, 3, but I mean, honestly, they don't fight that much, man.
No, you can't because they got to recover.
They got to recover, and I mean, you win the fight. Even then, you're joint everything. Like you're getting thrown around in these fights. The fight footage is amazing, and there's these big takedowns and these big punches and kicks. And the one thing I was like, I don't think they're going to fight again later that day or the next day. That was the one thing I was like, but I forgive it because, like Jennifer Morrison, again, her character sort of the cliche wife. I don't want you to fight, but the way she handles it, you go, yeah, a lot of wives wouldn't want their guy to fight when he's the father of the children and all this stuff. So I really see it. You don't have to be a fight fan, in my opinion, because the scene, Nick Nolte and Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton in particular, and to a certain extent Jennifer Morrison, but all their performances are awesome, and the way it's shot, I really liked it. I really liked the movie a lot.
I did not see the film, but I have a question, and this is coming from a guy that I'm not an MMA fan. I'm more of a robot fighting fan. How does it compare to robot fighting?
Yeah.
It is the most accurate robot fighting.
Like, is it Rock'em Sock'em robots? Is it,
Yes.
Is it like real steel?
Yeah.
Like, where does it fit?
Yeah.
It's
is
right in
it
that wheelhouse.
Thunderdome? Was it?
Yes, it's Thunderdome with a hint of real steel.
I gotta say, my only real interest in seeing it, frankly, is Tom Hardy. Like, is he going to be badass as Bane? And let me just say, we've seen some stuff, obviously, is leaked on the internet about The Dark Knight Rises, and he plays.
They played the trailer. They played the trailer before Warrior, by the
really?
way, and it looks. I got chills. I'm fired up. And
I
then
can't wait.
after the movie, going, I'm so on board with Tom Hardy. Not that I wasn't beforehand, but this role, you saw enough of him in Inception, but this role is.
But I feel like watching, and seeing the stuff of Tom Hardy on the internet. He kind of looks like Lord Humongous from Road Warrior. Lord Humongous, no more just sadness. Walk away. Leave the gas. Walk away. When he was, because some footage leaked of Tom Hardy online at the stadium, the where the Steelers play, or the Gotham Rogues play, and he gets up. I guess they take over the stadium, and he's talking to a microphone, and this is video that's leaked on the internet. I hope I didn't ruin anything for any Dark Knight fans. But he looks just like Lord Humongous from Road Warrior. Just throwing that out there. Okay, not really funny.
Yeah.
All I care as a huge Batman fan, all I care about is will Tom Hardy be great? And I think he will. All these kids.
I think he'll be great too.
Complaining on the internet, it's like no, he's not gonna look like some ridiculous digital.
Hey, let's give Christopher Nolan the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
shall we?
I trust Nolan. He's an indie film guy, and his whole approach to the Batman films is what if this were real. Yeah, I want this to be rooted in reality.
Finally,
this could all actually happen.
And finally, he got successful enough that he can go, you know what? I'm done with Katie Holmes. Stop shoving her in my movies.
Yeah, and here's what I'm also excited about is that I think this was like a challenge. He just did not want to make a movie after The Dark Knight. Didn't want to make a third film. And the whole thing is, has there been a third movie in a series of 3 films where the third movie was any good? Where the third movie really was satisfying, and I almost feel like by the third movie they're too chummy, and it's too.
You mean like superheroes?
Just anything. Series of 3 movies. It's always like the
Star Wars, film. Lord of the Rings.
Return of the Jedi, I thought was a kind of a disappointment to me.
Really?
Yeah.
There's some good moments in Jedi, but
how about Return? It's always if it has Return in the title, it's pretty good. Return of the King?
Well, actually, Return of the King may be the best, although I feel like at the ending it was like, come on, I feel like I'm watching the DVD extended edition with like 30 minutes of goodbye. Just end it.
And there was more in the book. Right. That's what's crazy.
The final Harry Potter was probably the best finale of any series of movies, I think.
And that was the 8th, not the 3rd.
Yeah, exactly. So a third, and that was a challenge I know that Christian Bale threw out to Chris Nolan. It's like, well, make a third film in this series that will top it, that will be great. What I'm excited about too is that there's been things that have leaked online, but the ending of the movie apparently is not in printed scripted form. Actually, Chris Nolan, after someone reads the script, he actually will just tell you what the ending is. The last couple pages are missing. He just verbally says, "Here's what happens." It's not physically printed anywhere where anyone can see it. Wow. Which is I love those kind of like behind the scenes little tidbits.
Yeah, you have
tidbits.
to.
Anyways,
with his movies.
I just wanted to relate Warrior, because I really didn't give a crap about that movie, to something that I care about, which is the upcoming Batman film, The Dark Knight Rises.
But again, I'm so fired up for Dark Knight Rises, and I would say if in what you said, Chris, if there's other people listening who have the same opinion as you, I would recommend then to go see Warrior, because you're going to really be impressed with Tom Hardy.
I will see it on DVD when it comes out.
Absolutely. When it comes out on DVD, check it out. And Joel Edgerton, again, like, he was great in Animal Kingdom, and this role, he is a believable American dude. And and Nick Nolte's so great in this. He's so great in this. There's these scenes where the pain in his eyes and the close-ups and the way they shot it, I really like this film a lot. So
cool.
Yeah.
Check it out. All right.
Let's go to Red State.
Yes, Red State. We're skipping Bucky Larson because none of us have seen it.
Well, wait a sec. I think we could still talk about it. Here's my take on Bucky Larson. Because I kind of wanted to see it. I thought, look, just from the ads, this is no reflection on the movie, because this has happened so often, where the trailer's awful, or it doesn't really match the film, or it gives too much away. That is the worst ad campaign I may have ever seen. I think we've all seen the ads for Bucky Larson, so we can discuss that. First of all, I know the guy who's in the ad said, you should see Bucky Larson. He looks like he's high. Who's that actor? I'm spacing it.
He's in all the Sandler movies.
Right, exactly. So it's like, the ad
Schneider.
campaign was terrible, but here's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to reading the bad reviews of Bucky Larson. They're hard to find because they didn't do any critic screenings at all.
Really? That's weird. Not screened for critics?
Not screened for critics. And that's when you know it's bad. But also, like, I love to read reviews of bad movies more than seeing some bad movies. And then it'll kind of like, I disagree with that guy. I'd like to see it. And of course, there is such a thing as a good, bad film. So I think the question is this a good, bad film? Because it got a 0% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which to me is always like, now I really want to see it.
If anybody's seen it, put a little review on the message boards, so we can actually read about it. But if you really think, I really want to know if this movie is good or not, if you're really wondering, there's nothing we can do for you.
Yeah, yeah. I love bad films, and there's such a thing as a good bad film, and I'm just curious if this fits in that category.
All right, so let us know, fans.
I just don't want to pay to see it. I'd rather have you. I'd rather read I will get more laughs out of the reviews of Bucky Larson than probably actually seeing Bucky Larson. And I'm only going by the trailer. Which has an interesting haircut, and that's pretty much the source, I guess.
What's the Dimitri Martin? It's sweeping the country.
It's little,
yeah, exactly.
What it is, it's Little Nicky in porn.
Right,
It is. But let's move on to Red State. Because I saw this movie, and I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, and I was really interested to see this movie because it's not a comedy. It's a complete departure from what he normally does. And
how are Jay and Silent Bob? I just want to know how they are in Red State.
As they were locked up in the basement in the cult.
Some fan has to get a copy of Red State and recut it with Jay and Silent Bob in it. Just to see,
I would see that movie.
It's one of those things where it's like, I love internet mashups, and it would be great to see Red State.
Kevin Smith is in it at the very end. He just has like one line, but
really,
he's
does it take you out of the movie?
No, because you don't see him. It's a voiceover. You hear him. So let's get into what you're up to now, and just a brief history of Film Threat. You started years ago as print went
some
online.
Some of our might not know who you or Film Threat is, so let them know.
All right, fine. We're gonna go there. Let's go there. I was when I was in high school, way back when. Punk rock fanzines were huge, and I liked them because I happen to like punk music. And I wanted to create a fanzine about films just as an excuse to write about movies that I loved, and then also as an excuse to meet filmmakers that I admired. So I created this thing, Film Threat, moved out to L.A., and ended up selling the magazine, oddly enough, to Larry Flint, who owned it for about 5 years. And when I got the rights back in the late 90s, I turned it into a website. So Film Threat's been around for now 25 years. And it's, if you're in the indie film world, you probably know about Film Threat. But the problem is that I look back at the history of Film Threat, and it's like, yes, I covered indie film, but it was also sort of a source of all my obsessions. So I couldn't just, being a guy that I was a guy that did well in school, but was always being sent to the office for fucking with teachers, because I just like to play practical jokes, and I like like to think I have a sense of humor.
I think we should clarify fucking with the teachers.
Fucking with them, not in them.
Yeah.
So, so that sort of comes out in Film Threat. So it's while at the same time it would be compared to Spy Magazine at the time, which is also something your listeners know nothing about.
Right.
But Spy Magazine was
great for 1 year.
It was really great. It was great. It was a great satirical comedy. I mean, sort of on the heels of National Lampoon, covering more serious politics and whatnot. And so we would get compared to Spy a lot, sort of the Spy of movie magazines. And I think that's not so much where Film Threat is today as a website. It's more of a cheerleader for film festivals and independent movies, which is great because it was intended to also be that, while at the same time poking fun at things. Although, on my Twitter, I can't help but continue to do that. I can't help but have that side of me come out. So
yeah, we never do that here.
No, this is the perfect website. Yeah. The worst thing is you came up with Comedy Film Nerds before I could. Yeah. I'm upset at you guys. That should have been my podcast. Fuck you. But anyways, I
10,000 people just went pulled out their earbuds. He's too loud.
So I started Film Thread as a fanzine, and I appreciate it's been around. There's talk of doing a documentary because I have all these archives. I have video and audio recordings and letters from like Alan Moore and Charles Bukowski and Steven Soderbergh and just David Lynch and just like these files and files of stuff. And it's like, I don't know, is this a good subject for a documentary? I've been approached by like 3 different filmmakers. Right now I'm just archiving all of the stuff.
Was one of them Steven Soderbergh?
No, he's not one that wants to make it into a doc. But I mean, I'd be curious what a take on that doc might be. But right now, I'm just archiving all of that stuff, and then I'm doing. I'm starting my own podcast, which I talked to you guys about, and then I'm working on an animated series. I haven't talked about this at all.
Oh, here, drop it.
A little bit. Yeah, I am doing an animated series, which you can get information on if you go to facebook.com/fetishville. And it's FETI.
Gee, what's this going to be about?
FETISHVIL. Fetishville is
it's like Farmville?
In a way. But it's basically about a dungeon that's in a remote location that VIPs, world leaders, politicians, celebrities, rock stars travel to.
Is there ever a dungeon that isn't in a remote location?
Absolutely. But this one, the reason they go to it is the best in the world. It's also the best when it comes to discretion. So famous people go to this. And
this is where you could kill a hooker and no one will...
Precisely. So it focuses on the girls that work at this dungeon. But I failed to mention that the show is actually all done with dolls. It's all done with dolls, and so it's a cartoon show. So it's an animated show, and
is it like Robot Chicken?
Yeah, I would say that it's sort of like Robot Chicken.
And who's doing the voices
with double penetration? I don't want to say exactly who's doing the voices right now because I'm going to announce those.
Oh, I see.
I'm doing a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo.
Oh, cool.
As it is, doing animation it's kind of expensive. It can be expensive, but I'll show you some pictures from the show if you'd like to see them. Although perfect on a podcast,
for an audio
podcast that you could see some of the teaser posters for Fetish.
Are they on the Facebook page?
But yes, it's on the Facebook fan page. And I will say,
where did you get the little S&M costumes for the dolls?
That's all stuff that was made. And all I can say is this is very detailed. And I'll be releasing the first season of Fetishville on DVD in unedited form. There will be a version of Fetishville that will be on the internet that will be blurred and bleeped.
For broadcast.
For broadcast, basically, yeah. But, so we're doing
So you're just self-producing this whole thing? You're going to sell it online? And
yeah, it's just like, I've been involved in, I produced a film, co-wrote and produced a film called My Big Fat Independent Movie, which is out on DVD. I had a short film called Red on DVD, which we have a couple copies here to give away. You'll talk about that later.
We will indeed.
So people know me from being on G4 and from Film Threat. And
you're still on G4, right?
And I've been on G4 for 6 years doing the DVD Tuesday segment. And then I cover movies and stuff. They send me all over whenever they need sort of a patsy. Whenever they need to send someone, we'll send Gore to Russia. But they didn't get...
For the Transformers premiere.
I went. They did get the kidnapping and ransom insurance. The K&R insurance is like a big deal. So I guess they didn't think I was that important of a property.
No one's
Send Gore to Russia. He doesn't need K&R insurance. But yeah,
It's not like we're sending Adam Sessler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's the money on the network. But look, I love like Attack of the Show. They let me wear whatever I want, say whatever I want. I appreciate. I love the freedom there. I mean, everybody just like it's my best TV experience. This is coming off the heels of doing other TV that I think was like I still hadn't found my voice yet. But Fetishville is a cartoon show. It's an animated show, and sort of a reaction to I'd been pitching a bunch of different TV shows around town, and you guys have done the whole pitch thing.
Oh, yeah.
Here's my idea. And it's like, you know what? I'm sick of telling people about the idea. I'm just going to make it, which is what motivated me to do my big fan independent movie. I'm like, I'd spent years pitching, I'd written a couple scripts that were hot. I'd gotten all these meetings. I'd pitched around town. And then I realized I opened up my glove box and here's this pile of I'd saved all the parking passes and the walk-ons at every studio. Just like, it was every major one. I'm like, I haven't made any money. I haven't made any money. I'm sick of it. So that's why I made my big fan independent movie. And that's why with this animated
Your
show,
tale is so unique.
Yeah, exactly. It's not unique. I'm tired of, and also,
and that's what's so great. What we're doing right now, Chris, is really you're able to do this now. You can go. We're eliminating the middleman. You can go right to your fans now.
Yeah,
we're selling. We deal with Simon & Schuster, Warner Brothers Records. It doesn't matter.
It's the coolest thing, and the fact, like Dean Haglin's movie that we've been, he just made.
We're distributing feature films now.
Punching
no,
the
but
clown.
it's amazing just what can be done with crowdfunding and directly marketing. I look at people I think the music business is way ahead of indie film and whatnot in the sense that you've got guys like Trent Reznor, Radiohead saying, "Give me a little money, I will give you some songs." In fact, Trent Reznor gave away a free album. He's just like, you know what, this is one for you guys. Now Smashing Pumpkins are getting into this where they're putting out songs.
Radiohead.
I mean, those filters of those executives have gone away. People like Amy Mann, which is a favorite musician of mine. I mean, she's been very DIY. And if I could recommend a book that she's in and a lot of DIY people, it's oh my God, I can't believe I spaced on the name, but it basically has the word cockroach in it. The Tenacity of a Cockroach. And it's Onion Books put that book out, and it's interviews with sort of alt comics, it's alt film, it's alt music, it's alt TV. Conan O'Brien's in it, like all these people who sort of have alternative approaches to creativity and did a lot of things DIY. It's a great book.
Oh, cool.
Tenacity of a Cockroach, but I've been that way with Film Thread. I just started the magazine, and I've somehow found a way. I found a way to actually get people to give me money to do projects in sort of the mainstream realm, while at the same time keeping a foot in the indie realm. And when it comes to TV, I have this project and another animated project I'm doing. So it's just from writing scripts, and then just going, you know what? I'm just going to make these as cartoon shows. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
now, what's on the, like, if you, let's say someone gave you $10 million, what kind of feature would you make?
God, I don't know that I'd even. Well, with that, it would really just be about the casting. I mean, I would probably take a Soderbergh approach, and have the actors drive themselves to work. I'd rather take that $10 million and make 10 $1 million movies, but ultimately, when you start to get into budgets and what things cost, $1 million goes away really quickly. I mean, you guys know when you sit there and do budgeting, it's really
even with the tax incentives,
all that stuff. So it's sort of like, how much money do you need? It's like how much do you got? And figure out a way to do it. Like there was a recent case. God, and I almost contacted the guys. The Anchorman 2, Paramount passed on it. Right. Okay. I love the first Anchorman movie. I think it's brilliant. I hear the Anchorman 2 script, though I haven't read it. I hear it's amazing. All your favorite characters are back. Will Ferrell, Paul Rudd, Steve Carell. They're all back for the sequel to Anchorman 2. And I thought they passed on it. I thought, you know what would be great if they just did a table read of Anchorman 2 with all of those actors and filmed it and released that as a movie and talked about how Paramount did not fund Anchorman 2. It would be fucking amazing, and you could make that for $50,000. You could make it for nothing. Yeah. I mean, so what I love about indie film is always seeing how money is not an obstacle. and I've always admired that.
Now more than ever, where you could put something online as a download or make a DVD and sell it, or both. Now more than ever, you can make your thing.
I don't understand why Adam McKay and that gang, like, why didn't they just go, you know what? We're going to film the table read with all these comedy A-listers, and we're going to put it out as a freaking documentary, and there'll be parts of it that'll be animated, and there'll be parts they act out. But it's almost like Roger Ebert has a funny thing he said where, I think he said this about the movie Wild Hogs, which I never saw, but I hear is not good. And wasn't there a part 2?
Sure.
I try to avoid movies I don't like. I know I won't like. Because time is precious. If I don't have to see it for my work, I will not see it. I just avoid it. But Roger Ebert said, I'd rather see a movie about those people having lunch than see that movie. And I think that, like, with something like Anchorman 2, I'm thinking, like, those people are so funny. They could literally take cardboard cutouts. You could see the sort of hijinks that comes with, you've been in writers' rooms and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
And you know that kind of creative energy with those people. They could do a script reading while at the same time being themselves, offering a glitz. And effectively, you would see Anchorman 2 in your mind's eye. And I think that
I bet they could crowdfund that for $2 million and actually make the movie.
I bet they could actually do it. But then, I mean, like, maybe what they do is they just get child actors who are awful to play them. You know what I mean? But then they dub their voices on it. So they would make the movie, but with kids, but would have Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell's voices. Who knows? You could have sections of the movie that could be creatively done a different way. It's like that that Star Wars project, where they're basically remaking Star Wars, but it's on the internet, and I forget the name of the project. But if you see the movie The People versus George Lucas, they talk about it, where they took, like, little 10 or 15 seconds chunk you could sign up, and then each person will recreate that scene from Star Wars.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and you can do it in animation, you can do it live action, do whatever you want.
And they made the whole movie.
And then they made the whole movie, but it's like the audio track is the original Star Wars audio, but you're setting it to something visual that you have made.
Find the name of that?
So, it's great, and you can watch that online. I'm thinking with Anchorman 2, I think, why are you letting Paramount stop you from making it? Just fucking make it with the resources you have.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know why I'm going on this rant. I'm saying that these are the things that I think in my brain that I would do if I was in their position. And this is why I decided, I'm tired of pitching these shows.
We're way tired of pitching. That's the whole reason we started the site. We're tired of
pitching. Results in nothing. It results in a free Diet Coke and a parking and maybe free valet. I'm done with that process.
Star Wars Revelations.
Star Wars Revelations. Yeah, it's not. It's not. Star Wars Revelations. No, that's not it. Star Wars Revelations is like I've seen it actually. It's but it's like a fan made thing. Right. Which actually, if you look at
you guys will be able to find it.
Which, if you look at all the changes,
George Lucas, watch that.
Yeah,
that's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
Watch that.
Oh wait, you're in it, right?
No.
But you know a lot of the people.
I know half the people in that movie.
Yeah.
I saw that at South by Southwest.
What is it?
Thought it was great. What?
Pitching Lucas?
No,
that's not it.
Wow, there's a lot of fan-made documentaries.
You're the worst intern ever. I hope you're good at shipping T-shirts, because this looking things up on the internet not going so well. Let's see how it goes.
All right, we got to move it along.
I'm sorry, Sean. I hope you'll forgive me. I appreciate you handing me a water.
Yeah,
earlier. That was earlier. So in any case, So I'm doing this cartoon show, Fetishville. You can also follow the Twitter at Fetishville.
Great.
I look forward to
FETISH.
And I gotta say too, real quick. I remember when I first started taking my short film Hello Junkie to the festivals. I bought Film Threat's Guide to Going to Film Festivals.
The Ultimate Film Festival Survival Guide. It's my book.
I bought that book, and
I wrote that book.
That book helped me immensely. Like the way you broke it down and talked as a film, I was like, awesome. And you're like, oh, you're gonna see celebrities, and they all have bigger heads, and all the shit you said in there, which was.
I said a lot of weird shit, but my whole thing with that book was
it was very helpful.
It ended up being like a textbook, which is weird because if you go to certain film schools, they use that book as a textbook. But I wrote it in total anti-textbook. Oh yeah, it's like required reading at like NYU, AFI. As part of their independent film studies.
Oh, that's awesome.
USC, UCLA. Mm-hmm. Anyways.
That's awesome.
I wrote the book as like, I want to give you the no bullshit. Mm-hmm. I want to tell you like things like how to crash a party at a film festival. You're not on the invite list. You're walking around. There's a great party. How do you get into that party if you're not on the list? I will give you some tips. One of my favorite ones which I've used at Sundance. is I'll take a pint glass, and on the very bottom of the pint glass, I'll have like half of it. Maybe it's apple juice I've shook up, or maybe it is a beer. Who knows? I tie my jacket around my waist. I go right up to the doorman, and I say, "Hey, man, is it cool if I take this outside?" He says, "No, you can't take that beer outside. Get back in the party." And because it's the one thing you can get fired for, actually, as a doorman, is if you let someone leave with alcohol. You can be fired for that because it's I guess it's breaking a law.
Genius.
Genius. So I just will keep it in my pocket, and I'm a big fan of the pocket beer. And what I'll do is I'll sort of, you have to sidle up. You have to sidle up. You're not making eye contact. You have to be kind of low key and just go, "Hey man, is it cool if I take this outside?" I can't tell you how many parties I've been thrown into and I've been yelled at. "You can't take that out. Get back in the party. Get back in the party." Fine, I'll go back in your party, but I'm not on the list. Yeah, I think I should have mentioned to you that I am kind of the king of party crashing. But now it's more difficult for me now from the standpoint of people. I do get recognized at film festivals.
Oh my God, you're going to say people know who you are.
I wasn't going to say people know who I am, but people know in the realm of film festivals, people do know me just from having done that book. So I don't get the sort of thrill and fun of crashing a party anymore because they know me. So I'm lamenting this now.
Those days are gone. Okay, well, here's what I'm learning. I'm learning slowly about you. And, like, you have a lot of game, is what I get. You've been around, like, you've done stuff. But so many of the things that you talk about, like, I feel like a lot of the success that you've had has stemmed somehow from beer. True or false?
Beer has played a part in my career. It's more like a kabir. Oh, my God, that's the worst. That is,
the best part about what you just said is if that became like a marketing for you, I don't know what the fuck it means. Kabir, it's like, is that an explosion of some kind? Is it like, what is that?
Well, I did suggest, with all seriousness, on another podcast from last episode, Proudly Presents, I suggested that to save the movies, forget 3D, they should just serve beer at the movies and call it brewvies.
Okay, that's better.
So as much as I joke around, I actually, underneath the joking around, there is sort of a seriousness. And like the whole thing of crashing parties is, I wrote that book for filmmakers. I genuinely wanted to give filmmakers the tools to get to places where they wouldn't have normally been invited for the sole purpose of networking. So I was just trying to present it in a fun way, so it was entertaining to the reader, although so few people read these days.
Well, you wanted to give filmmakers brew-opportunities.
Brew-opportunities. And with that, let's get back to the podcast. So so there's tips like that in there that are useful, and so just relax, like just be a real person. Don't sit there and always be. I think there's almost too much strategic thinking when it comes to working in the entertainment business, to the point where it's like, I know when I'm having it's like, dude, I would rather have a conversation with you about just anything else but the business. Please, can we just connect as human beings? Those are the people I remember, which is why I liked hanging out with you guys,
because we did not give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we care about having a good time, and then it's like, those are the people I want to hang with, the people that are fun. And then that leads to, hey, it's always led to some sort of thing like, hey, we should work, we should do something together. Because if this is what we're like, just hanging out, it's like, work will be fun.
Yeah, do you want to work on this fetish doll project?
Exactly. Do you want to work on my fetish film? It's this animated show. Okay, I'm announcing it here.
Yes.
It's now officially been announced.
Sweet. We've had a couple announcements on this show.
We have.
Let's go to DVDs.
Okay.
Thor is coming out. I like this movie better than I thought it would be.
I liked it, but I got to tell you something. First of all, have you seen the DVD yet?
No, I haven't seen the DVD yet.
And this is gonna you're gonna post this after I appear on DVD Tuesday, so it's no big deal. But first of all, there are a ton of deleted scenes on it, which it's one of the few times you look at deleted scenes and go, oh, I see why they cut that. The deleted scenes in Thor would have made the movie so much better because they're all character moments. You know that scene where he breaks the cup?
Yeah.
You know, he sits there and breaks the cup very loudly. He actually returns the cup to the woman. He's trying to redeem himself. You see another thing where he saves he saves someone using his magic power. Like, you see him actually sort of redeem, because think of it, a guy named Thor, kind of an asshole. because he's got the one name. Anyone that's got one name, Vanity, Cher, Prince. If you're a one name kind of guy, I'm Thor. What's your last name? Just Thor.
Yeah.
Just go with Thor. Kind of a vain guy. And what I
Or
like
Thor, God of Thunder, if you want the whole thing.
God of Thunder, but that's more of a nickname.
Yeah.
That's what they call me when I go to Vegas. But
Thor goes to Vegas. Sequel.
yeah, but see, those deleted scenes in this would have made the movie so much better because I didn't so much love the film. The theaters, it's like, all right, cool, this is decent. Like, okay, if you're gonna do Thor, this works. I really loved the DVD. Seeing those moments, I thought really made the film. I would have liked to have seen those deleted scenes in a different cut of the film. I think it really made him more likable. So I was surprised how much I enjoyed it better on DVD than actually at the theater, where I was filled with expectation.
Yeah.
I think now it's like, okay, I quite enjoyed Thor.
Okay.
I'm talking too much. Is this?
No, this is good.
This is a problem that occurs with me constantly.
No, this is
Next
great because this
DVD.
is we haven't seen the DVDs yet. Next one is Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
Watch this if you're
Seriously,
stupid.
yeah,
If you're dumb
If you
and you
can't
like
wait to
everything
see
that's
again,
horrible,
if you can't wait to see this
Go see
movie,
this. Go to an Applebee's and watch this.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically it's special. It's effects porn. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what Transformers is. It's special effects porn. So
Don't give Michael Bay your money, you guys.
yeah,
Steal
just
this
stop
movie.
it. The Tempest. This one took a long time to come out on DVD. Neil saw it. He said it was okay, too costumey.
I have seen the play and I
Yes.
like the Atari game, but
Yes.
I have not seen this film.
Folks, get the
Atari game based on the Shakespeare play.
The Atari game is awesome. That spider that climbs around and you
I
shoot.
love it.
It's a great game.
Super Zapper Recharge.
Conan O'Brien Can't Stop.
This is his tour movie?
Yes, this is a tour movie.
Amazing. I've seen
Really?
it. It's amazing. And also, the deleted scenes on it are great because they actually show you some of the bits. And I saw the tour when he came to the Universal Amphitheater. It was incredible. But you really get insight into him. And I mean, he's yes, I am very needy. He admits to being very needy and needing just to be in front of an audience constantly, and came up with the idea for the tour the day of the final show.
Right.
So it's an awesome DVD.
That's cool.
Hesher, this is another one Neil reviewed on the site. He actually really liked it. It was this little kind of indie character piece.
This is a movie that
like a Henry Fool kind
I
of
forgot
thing.
to see this. It sort of slipped through the cracks for me, and I'm glad
Yeah.
it's coming out on DVD because I want to check it out.
Somebody their lives are lousy. Then a drifter comes into their lives, who's makes things shakes things up. So, Citizen Kane 70th anniversary edition, the Ultimate Collector's Edition. We
I
have
hate
a lot
to say
of
this, Rosebud's a sled.
what?
Spoiler
No,
alert,
spoiler alert! No, don't ruin it. This is pretty much film school in a movie. When you watch this movie, but the thing is now, a lot of times the language of film, the way scenes are set up, and what the subtext, what they really mean, is kind of lost a little bit. If you really want to learn about film, watch this movie with a guide as to which each scene kind of means, and you're going to learn a ton of things.
And I'm not sure if this edition still has it, but Roger Ebert actually did a commentary, and I'm sure it's included on this. I have an older version of Citizen Kane on DVD that
I hate to
has
think
an
the collector's edition dropped Roger Ebert from it.
So this is when he could talk too, which is
Right.
which is even better. No, I love Ebert. I'm a huge fan of him, and I think he really what's ironic is he kind of found his voice on the internet, on Twitter. I mean, he's one of the best.
Oh,
pieces to follow on
hilarious
Twitter.
too. Yeah.
Twitter, he's amazing.
And it's not even when he's talking about movies. That's great. But then when he goes after Sarah Palin, it's
God,
hilarious.
his politics is awesome. Oh no, he's amazing. I love Ebert. I almost think he's a talent that's kind of wasted in writing reviews. I mean, at this point, who gives a shit what Roger Ebert thinks of Bucky Larson? I'm sure it's a funny review. I'd rather see him do something like run the MPAA or run an indie film studio or
Right.
get involved in something else and sort of like
Or make a sequel to Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
He's got the same job that bloggers in high school have. Like he's just reviewing movies. It's like, dude, move on. We got this. We got the internet's got it covered, Roger. I think now you could definitely go another level, and I think that he's the guy to do it. I mean,
God, if he ran an indie studio, that
that'd
would
be
be
awesome.
awesome.
I mean, his books are really good too. He's still writing books.
He loves huge tits. That's what I love about Roger.
God bless him.
Platoon, 25th anniversary edition. This was an amazing movie when it came out. Do you know what's added to the anniversary edition?
A lot of the behind-the-scenes documentaries, Dale Dye's stuff, the commentary on it is great. I'm a commentary junkie. I'm a podcast junkie and a commentary junkie. So
until today.
Exactly. Until today, I came on this thing.
Now I'm deleting my iPod.
Yes, I hate podcasts.
You've ruined the genre for us.
You have, yes. No, you guys have destroyed it for me. But no, but the Platoon, it's great. I mean, what's funny is now, I just wonder, like, there have been so many great war films since then. I wonder just how it holds up. But for me, I remember seeing it first time. So
it's yeah. I think it's one of those movies that is relevant because of its impact when it came out. I don't know that it still holds up, but I think it's worth watching. And again, Dale Dye, he's been the best consultant, or the consultant for the last 25, 30 years.
The weird thing is you could watch Platoon and watch Charlie Sheen not break down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think there's there's good performances. Tom Berenger and Willem Dafoe, they're good. Johnny Depp. It's interesting, but definitely I think you have to go into watching Platoon now thinking some of this isn't going to hold up, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's hard for a movie to transcend generations. It's especially a war movie about
a specific
Vietnam.
Moment in time.
The Vietnam War has been covered so much.
But what I do appreciate about it, and what I appreciate about older war films is nothing is digital. Yeah. When they're explosions, those are explosions.
Running from squibs and explosions.
Yeah, it's real.
That's a real helicopter shooting.
And then you see the sort of Michael Bay Pearl Harbor thing, and just sort of modern spectacle movies are so digitally enhanced, it takes me out of it. I always think, like, when do I press play so I can start this level? This full motion video scene is too much.
Although in Pearl Harbor, all of those ships being blown up, not digitally enhanced to make them look like World War II ships. They're all looked unbelievably modern. Oh, that aircraft carrier looks pretty modern. Anyway, another sloppy movie by Michael Bay. And Star Wars Complete Saga, first time on Blu-ray.
No.
No.
Why did he make Darth Vader do that? Why did he do that?
First of all, we know it's the no at the end of Revenge of the Sith is laughable. There's 2 no's that have been added to the end of Return of the Jedi to kind of bookend your displeasure with that. But I've always said that the prequels for me are it's like the most awesome thing ever. Ooh, Darth Maul is amazing. Oh my God, there's Obi-Wan Kenobi meeting Anakin for the first time. Double-sided lightsaber. The Clone Wars. Stormtroopers are clones. It's like the most awesome, cool stuff ever mixed with the worst stuff ever. It's like Jar Jar and stepping in poop and dumb jokes and blah, blah, blah. So I say it's almost like you're having sex for the first time, but your mom is watching. So it's simultaneously the coolest, most awesome thing,
and now on Blu-ray.
Now on Blu-ray. But what I will say about this, and I'm actually kind of I have a different opinion than the internet on this. The internet is all Lucas keeps changing the movies. Look, I have the movies on Laserdisc. There are places you can download BitTorrents of HD versions of the originals that are untainted. It's the fan restored editions of Star Wars.
I have them on VHS.
Empire. Yeah. There's ways to obtain these things, but really what Lucas has done, here's why I admire him. He allows his fans to be creative in the Star Wars universe. If you go to the official Star Wars website, there are sound files that you can download. You can make your own movies. The guy doesn't legally go after anyone making fan-related things. He even has a fan film contest where he gives awards for this. He actually encourages creativity. What I think, unfortunately, Star Wars has devolved into is George Lucas's version of a fan film of Star Wars. So, which is kind of ironic. It's like he said, well, gosh, if the fans are allowed to do all this stuff, why can't I keep tinkering with it? He's encouraged this creativity and allowed them to play in the universe, but the same people making these Star Wars fan films are the loudest complainers of him messing with the movies where you have messed with his franchise, his licensed characters and his properties. So,
here's what I would love to see.
Something like Star Wars Revelations, Sean accidentally found trying to find something real.
Star Wars Complete Saga. It's not the Complete Saga. There's 3 more movies that were planned.
No, exactly. I remember reading that Time magazine. I think it was the first time I read a news magazine that George Lucas was on the cover of. There were supposed to be 9 Star Wars films, 3 trilogies, and ironically, maybe you've never heard this story. Back in the early 90s, 20th Century Fox did a poll of fans. and they asked a question. They said, would you like to see new Star Wars movies? New Star Wars movies with the continuing adventures of Han, Luke, and Leia? Or would you like to see prequel movies with the adventures of a young Obi-Wan Kenobi and a young Darth Vader? Across the board, it's like 80% plus. The poll was like, I want to see sequels. I want to see more Luke, Han, and Leia.
The characters that I love.
And Lucas said, I'm going to make those prequels. And then decided sort of like making these prequels was so tough that he just decided to make, I'm going to cap it at 6 films.
I'd like to see the fans. I'd like to see the fans make the next 3.
The fans should make the next 3. Mark Hamill would probably be in it.
Yes.
If not his son, Nathan Hamill, who I follow on Twitter. He's a great guy.
He's got a rock band.
Exactly. Like, I really feel that, the fans should just make those last 3 movies. And there's so much, I mean, when you read those Timothy Zahn books, those novels are like, I mean, those things are like, that should have been sort of the remnants of the Empire trying to make a comeback. But it's interesting. I actually interviewed Gary Kurtz years ago, and I asked him about, because he was not involved in Return of the Jedi. Lucas sort of was looking for a yes man. And the ending was supposed to be totally different. Han Solo was supposed to die. The Millennium Falcon was supposed to be blown up. It was going to end in a bittersweet way where Luke, Princess Leia, they go to Coruscant, take over the Empire. They escape. The Emperor escapes. And I guess there's a coronation ceremony where Princess Leia becomes like Queen of the Galaxy and then goes off to basically, he finds out that he has a sister, so he's going off to find his sister, who's not Princess Leia. He's going off to find his sister and then join in the chase for the Emperor, and that was supposed to be the last 3 films, but it didn't happen. I feel like Gary Kurtz was one of the... You can read that review on that interview on filmthreat.com if you look up Gary Kurtz. I did that interview around the time the special editions came out. But it's interesting to see, like, and the original prequels were supposed to start 25,000 years before the events in Star Wars, showing the formation of the first Jedi Knights and discovering the Force. So the first movie was going to be this sort of kind of art film, samurai art film about the
like Hidden Fortress.
Yeah, exactly. Like the first Jedi Knights forming, and then cut to there's some.
But why do you need to form them when you have midichlorians?
Exactly.
They're just
that's
viruses.
The dumb thing. Damn it! Is trying to. We could go on and on. Just see the movie The People versus George Lucas. Okay, so those are the highlights from the Comedy Film Nerds podcast. I saw you got kind of ruffled when I was talking about Star Wars.
I'm so tired of everybody talking shit about George Lucas because I don't like episodes 1, 2, and 3 any more than anybody else. But it's like, he's an old man and everyone is just on his case and the fucking kids need to get off his, like, cinematic lawn, is what I'm saying. Leave George Lucas alone!
Yeah, but Jar Jar...
Jar Jar didn't do anything. Jar Jar didn't ruin anything. He's just another fucking dumb character that kids like. All the adults don't like Jar Jar because he's racist or stupid. Whatever. There are a lot of people who are racist and stupid that are very successful in the entertainment industry.
Although I will say, because I do collect Star Wars stuff. I have... this is a custom-made George Lucas action figure with the plaid shirt. It's pretty awesome. But I also happen to keep, and I couldn't believe that they actually made this. They had, when episode 1 came out, they made flavors of fruit roll-ups. And they had all different flavors. They had Jedi flavored, they had sort of droid flavored, and they had a Jar Jar flavored fruit roll-up. The flavor was galactic watermelon. Now, I don't know what galactic watermelon tastes like, but I'm going to guess if it's the cliched image of a horrible, racist cartoon, there's something to that. Why would someone must have been asleep at the wheel at this fruit roll-up company that decided galactic watermelon was going to be Jar Jar's flavor? What flavors do we have? We got strawberry, we got grape. Do we have galactic watermelon? And so that was his flavor. I don't know. All I can say is this: he's an irritating character whose voice is based on Barney the dinosaur. And let me add that I'm a big fan of the fan edits of the prequels. Okay. Someone did a fan edit of Star Wars Episode 1 at 70 minutes, where they basically they re-edit the movies and then they change it. What they did was they took Jar Jar's character and they changed the voice. I think the most irritating thing about Jar Jar's character is his voice. He sounds like Barney the dinosaur, which I find an irritating children's show. I'm not even sure if it's still on the air. But
Probably. Like, Barney will outlive us all. I
yeah,
think.
but his voice is irritating. What they did was this filmmaker made a fan edit where he took Jar Jar's voice and he changed it to this sounding voice of an honorable warrior race. He did not speak; it was spoken in alien voice, but sort of like this strong, powerful, and it was subtitled. He was awesome. He was this proud warrior race, spoke in this deep, guttural alien language, was subtitled, not irritating. And then he cut out all the stupid slapstick humor that has no place really in Star Wars.
And if that guy had been in charge of everything, he would have also created a fruit roll-up, but it would be like interstellar fried chicken.
Yeah. Yeah, yes. The horrible meat-flavored fruit roll-ups, not very popular, I think, in any part of the galaxy.
Everybody needs to settle down. I understand it's like everybody loves it. But I mean, Jesus H. Let's.
Yeah, no, I hear what you.
How about we fucking solve homelessness, or like world peace, or like let's move our money from a bank to a credit union. Stop making fun of George Lucas.
Anyways, let's get in some plugs. Where can we find you on Twitter and on the internet?
Okay, my Twitter is @PopcornMafia. The website's the same, popcornmafia.com, and you can read my reviews in written form at movies.com.
That's awesome. My plug, @ThatChrisGore, is me. @PodCRASH Show is the podcast. You can also find me at chrisgore.com. And I'll throw in a little plug. I talked a little bit about my stop-motion animated series, Fetishville. I won't tell you anything more about that now, except that if you would like to contribute to my crowdfunding campaign, hey, $40 gets you an awesome t-shirt and the uncut, unedited DVD. You can go to indiegogo.com/Fetishville. That's indiegogo.com/Fetishville, VIL. There's also a Facebook fan page, Fetishville, and a Twitter @Fetishville. So those are my plugs, actually.
You for a reward level, you need to give someone a spanking.
First of all, never considered that. I'm not sure how much people are going to want a spanking from me, but I'll bet some of the actresses from the show would be willing to do spankings.
I say, like, spread it around. Let them pick. You don't know what the fans want. Maybe they want your bare bottom.
We could add spanking, giving and or receiving as a perk, although I'm not sure what Indiegogo's going to think of that.
Oh, yeah, wait, I meant that you should be doing the spanking, but then I took it to a weird place by saying your bare bottom. Whoops. It's just what New Zealand does to me, eh?
Well, of course it's going to go to a weird place, talking about all this stuff. But those are the plugs for the week. But I promised you a treat. We did talk about, or I did talk about on Comedy Film Nerds, my love and excitement for the upcoming Batman film, The Dark Knight Rises. And if you are not already aware, Hans Zimmer, the composer, is trying to compile a giant chant that will be used in some form in the film. It sounds like Bane. I think Bane is using this chant. And if you go to ujam.com/campaigns/Dark Knight Rises/introduction, that's easy to remember. Of course, ujam.com/campaign/Dark Knight Rises/introduction. So simple, folks. If you go to that, or if you just actually Google Dark Knight Rises UJam, you'll find a place where you can actually listen to this chant and record your own chant so that you can be a part of Dark Knight Rises. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready,
Okay,
I'm ready.
Here we're going to do it. Ready, here we go. Dishy!
Dishy!
Basara!
Basara!
Dishy!
Dishy!
Basara!
Basara!
Dishy!
Dishy!
Basara!
Basara!
Dishy!
Dishy!
Basara!
Basara!
Dishy, dishy, basara, basara, 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 dishy, dishy.
Basara? I think
Close
that's
enough.
how it ends.
Do you have any idea what it means?
I feel like it means that maybe Katie Holmes wasn't as bad as everyone thought in the first movie. in Arabic.
Yeah, but that's a long statement for such a short phrase.
Hey, that's the chick that makes guys jump on couches on national TV.
You know what? She actually was not as bad, but I prefer Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Now that hotel security has probably been called.
Exactly. But you know what? That's our show for this week. Thanks for listening. And we end with the traditional, let's get out of here!
If you finally learn to do what is necessary, I won't kill you. But I don't have to save you.
If you're still listening to this, you're probably a lot like me, and you're the kind of person who waits until the entire movie's over and stays for the whole credits. That's me. And for that, you shall be rewarded. So if you drop me a self-addressed stamped envelope to ThatChrisGore, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California, 90036, I'll pop you back something fun. And the first 5 people to email me through my website at thatchrisgore.com. Click on contact. Put in the subject line, give me a DVD, Gore. And then, you know what? I will send you a DVD. Now, I can't promise you it'll be a good DVD. It's probably a DVD that's been sitting in my drawer. It's maybe something that I haven't gotten around to watching because I'm dreading it. To be honest, it's going to be a pretty bad DVD. But, you know,